What got you into the world of finance and trading?
I came from a single parent family. So watching my mom work hard made me prioritize money and time freedom. I bumped into trading, and that was when I got to see how it can be incorporated all into time, money, and location freedom.
You know, a lot of women, though, especially moms, they often feel like finance is very complicated. So, did you ever felt that, oh, finance is just not for me?
Initially, when I first come in, there was a lot of jargons and so much information everywhere. What I learned is that
How did you decide that this is it? I'm going to make trading my vocation.
I actually took about 5 years before I went full-time. So during that 5 years, I was
Welcome to this special conversation in collaboration with XM. If you ever felt like managing your finances is overwhelming or that financial freedom is out of reach, this one's for you. My name is Michelle Hon, and today I'm joined by the incredible Joyce Tan. Joyce is a trader and content creator who shares about trading, fitness, and travel, and I'm so inspired by how she built a lifestyle of freedom. And we'll be diving into how she does it, her journey, and how you, whether you're a busy mom or a single working woman, can take charge of your own future and create a life you love. Joyce, welcome. And I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me here. I am so honored.
Yeah, the honor is mine. And so let's begin with your journey, Joyce. What got you into the world of finance and trading?
I think it all started when I was growing up. I came from a single parent family. So watching my mom work hard and not spending time around at home made me prioritize money and time freedom. So my first job was actually as an air stewardess. And through that, I got to make way more money than my peers and also enjoy the time freedom, like going to the shopping malls on the weekdays when no one else is there, right? And I also get to enjoy location freedom. So through that experience, I found time, money, and location freedom. And I tried sales for a bit, but I didn't like it. So in the end, I bumped into trading. And that was when I got to see how it can be incorporated all into time, money, and location freedom. So yeah, with that, my best friend is also a full-time trader. So I got to see from her this three aspect that I wanted through trading.
That's amazing. It's true, right? Once you have tasted that freedom, it's hard to go back to 9 to 5, isn't it?
Yeah, like cramming in the train and all that, it was a motivation for me to want to work out of it. Yeah.
I totally get what you mean. But
Yeah.
you know, a lot of women, though, especially moms, while they want that financial independence and freedom, they often feel like finance is very complicated or like, oh, finance is just not for me, right? So did you ever felt that way in the beginning, and how did you maybe push past that?
Yeah, so I think initially when I first come in, there was a lot of jargons and a lot of news and articles and so much information everywhere. So what I learned along the way is that just learn what you need right now. You don't need to read every book out there. You don't need to know every method out there. Just take one step and then the next question will follow. So with that trust that you are going to get there anyway, you feel less, daunting when there's so much, financial
Yeah.
information. Yeah.
Yeah, because would never stop learning, isn't it? It's like there's just so much to learn. So I have a question. This one's from our audience, and we actually did a poll prior to recording this. We asked our audience on Instagram what they would like me to ask you. And this is from Lip. I'm not sure Lip is a he or she, but he asked, what was the aha moment for you when you start trading and you become profitable? I guess another way of this is a really good question, Lib. And I guess how do you decide that this is it? I'm going to make trading my vocation, right? And do you need any certifications to do it?
Yeah, so firstly, I think trading is like a very even game for everyone as long as you can, get in the market, open a brokerage account, anyone can trade. You don't really need like a certification. And after, my cabin crew days, I actually took about 5 years before I went full time. So during that 5 years, I was actually working from 9 to 5. And then at night from 5 to 9, I'm studying trading. So it's not like a get rich quick kind of thing. You have to treat
Mm,
trading like a long-term journey and then
mm,
still respect it, because one day you want it to take over your income, but just start by taking out that $100, $200 while holding on to your job. So I think I was roughly making about 3,000 a month before I actually realized that, okay, I can quit my job, get back my 9 to 5 timing to then study more the markets or go to the gym, take care of myself before showing up at night to trade the markets. So a lot of people think that maybe when they reach 10K, then they will become full-time trader and all that. But
mm.
for me, all I wanted to do was cover my expenses, and that's roughly like 3,000 a month. And I'm happy just to get back my time freedom.
That's true. That's true. And that's exactly what I advise my clients as well inside Mom Boss Academy. If you were to start a business, don't just quit your, safety net to just jump right
Yeah.
into it, right? And like how what
Yeah.
you did is to balance it alongside your full-time job until you get to a stage where it kind of can, either match your salary or like you say, give you that financial security. And then you jump in and gain back that time freedom so that you can then learn more and grow more in that vocation. Love
Yeah, and it
that.
comes it comes with time, right? Because
Mhm.
sometimes you might take 1 year of consistently making that 3,000 before you trust that this can replace your income. And some
Mm,
people only need maybe 2,200 a month. Some people need 8,000 a month. So
that's
it
true.
really depends on where you're at.
Where you're at and your levels of confidence in that. So,
Yes.
speaking of that, let's switch gear a little bit. And one thing I really love about you, Joyce, and your content is that you're not just about money, right? And that's the term that you use, spiritual trading. So,
Yes.
maybe could you please share with us what it means?
All right. So spiritual trader is like my content creator alter ego, because a lot of people come to my page for like money and finance topic, but I speak more about spirituality. So these are things that help people with their psychology in terms of like manifesting your goals and essentially bringing like the feminine energy of creation into the masculine world of finance. So I call this like a relationship with your higher self, like feeling worthy to take the money from the market when it's presented to you. So it's about breaking limiting beliefs. And I know a lot of people are not open to it, but those who are would stay with me.
Right. It is, isn't it? Sometimes it's beyond the action, the beliefs and the mindset is very, very
Yeah.
important. And I love that, so that's kind of sets you apart from other traders out there who just goes on about the numbers and the markets and all of that.
And the fast cars and the woman.
Private jets, right? Which could be
Yeah.
rented. But anyway, let's go about,
Yeah.
people are probably curious about how's the life of a trader. So what's the typical day in your life look like? Do you have a routine? Do you even trade when you're traveling? Because you
Yeah.
travel a lot.
Yeah. So I schedule my entire day around the markets. So I know what time I'm supposed to show up in the markets. And in Singapore, it's 9 p.m. So during the day, I would then get my workout done, eat healthy, get my book reading done, journaling, meditation, everything to keep me, like grounded before I show up to the charts. But if I'm traveling, then I will work around that clock. So let's say if I'm in Europe, then my
Mm,
trading time would be 3 p.m. Then this case, I would gym in the morning and then eat lunch and then trade. And at night, I can take it easy. But in
mm,
Singapore, I will then be working only at night and taking it easy in the morning. So there are a few things that I put effort into when it comes to my routine. And that's
mm,
this four topic called health, wealth, heart, and soul. I find that it really gives me more meaning in life when I focus on these four topics. So initially, when I started my trading journey going full time, I realized I had so much time on hand. I didn't know what to do with it. So I was just giving it away, like scrolling Instagram, finding the
mm,
next dopamine hit. But when I started focusing on like reading 10 pages a day, hitting the gym, eating healthy, making my own food, then my time becomes more intentional. So I think for anyone who wants to jump into like this full-time role of doing your own thing, it's so important to fill up your time with meaningful activities so that you don't get lost in the dopamine hits, you don't get lost in chasing the
Yeah.
money. Like meet your family, like go out with your friends. Yeah, enjoy the time freedom.
Yeah, yeah. It's important to be intentional with your time because when you're at work, like you kind of like have sold your time to your company, right? But
Yeah.
when you're working for yourself, it's all the more important to be intentional about
Yes.
what you want to do. And especially for people who always say they don't have time. And I always
Yeah.
tell them that if you really look at what you do every day, the activity, there's so much activity that non-needle moving that can be taken out and you'll find yourself with a lot of time. And so
Yes.
yeah, I like that. I like how you say about, be intentional. And the fact that you trade from 9 p.m. Singapore time onwards is makes it doable for people who have a full-time job to begin with.
Exactly. That's why I feel like it's such a blessing for us to be in Singapore, having, like your income already covered. And
Mm.
then now you have all this extra time to just like learn something new that could potentially just exchange your job.
And that's how you define freedom in your own life, right? Whether it is true really not having to work or having to dictate that the fact that you can say how I want to spend my time. I think that's how you can truly define, freedom in your own life. And I think it's
Exactly.
more important than ever that a woman should take charge of their own finances. So what are some of your money habits that have helped you build the life that you have now?
So I honestly think that women are better at finances, even though it's like a man game, right? We see that all the guys just wants like we mentioned, the fast cars and the jets and all that. But women, I feel like we would invest money properly, into our kids, into our future. That's why I feel like when women take charge of their finances, they make better decisions. We invest in things that matters, and then we bring forth, that economy that we want to grow more into. So, okay, with that aside, how I manage my finances in the beginning, let's say I have 100% of my pay every month. I would
Mm,
set aside 40% to like my expenses, my food and bills, things that have to be paid every month. And then I put 20 to 30% into investment. So depending on where you're at, right? If you're making maybe 3,000 a month,
mm,
then 300 is enough to start an investment account if you're just starting out. And
mm,
then I would put 10% into self-development. So all along I've been wanting to work for myself, and that 10% is like buying stocks to sell or investing in books or investing in courses online. Nowadays, you can get so many knowledge, right?
mm,
Just at $10 a month. And lastly, I set aside 10% for the fun fund, which is the
mm.
money that,
That's true.
you have fun with. Yeah, just go out
Correct.
there, travel and all that. Yeah, and in this case, for me, that 10% was into trading account. So I was already dabbling with it for like many years.
Oh, so for you, the 10% is like trading is fun.
Yes,
Trading
like
is fun money.
yeah, so whether I make money or I lose that 10%, it doesn't have a big impact on my
Mm.
my meals for the next few weeks.
Yes, 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 yes. That's how I invest as well. It's like I just invest. I don't know whether it's a good mindset or not. It's just like it's okay if I lose this, right? And
Yes.
that way it's just sort of like I just put it aside. And over time, if you, do nothing with it. I mean, to me, I'm not a trader. I'm more of like a long-term investor. So I just put it and just leave it there. And even if it goes down, it doesn't affect me. It's just paper loss, right? But
Yes.
yeah, not having that ego, don't feel like, don't put like the like you said, the security money in it. Just treat
Yes.
it as fun money. So I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And we have another question from our audience, and this one comes from Tan Ming Lin, and she asks, "How did you pick up trading, and where did you learn it from?"
For me, I learned it in the beginning from YouTube and a lot of courses in Singapore and all that. But nowadays, I think for beginners, there are so many resources. Just for example, like XM, you can actually
Mm,
go into their platform and sign up for their live webinars. There's even like Singapore trading webinars that people here can relate
mm.
to. You know, we use our Singaporean accent to
Ah.
check out the markets at night. Yeah. So there's also a lot of basic educational materials to understand like what is a candlestick, you know, how do I read the charts? And overall, I think like the best lesson to pick up trading and play with it is hands-on experience. So you can
Mm.
just easily open a demo account for free and test out the market, like buy or sell some Tesla stock, hold it for 2 months and see how you feel, whether it's something that you can do in your own free
Mm.
time.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And for those for audience who are listening right now or watching right now, I will add the link to the XM resource under the video in this yeah, whichever format that you're watching. So
Mm.
great. Okay. So you share with us where we can get the knowledge from. And is there any ideas that one can get started with at as little risk? I mean, there's always going to be risk, but is there a way that we can start with as little risk and knowledge as possible? Because you know, a lot of my mom watchers or audience, they just don't have the time to learn. While there's webinars and all is great, we just don't have the time. Where can we just put our extra fun money into right now?
Yeah, I think people only gain that interest after they see some money coming in, right? They only like, oh,
Yeah.
how is this done? So I think that if you want to just see how it works, you can also try out Copy Trader, which is
Mm-hmm.
also under XM. So you can see how other traders are trading. All you have to do is put that little fund, like
Mm,
300 or something. You can put with the trader itself, and essentially they trade for you. So they enter the position, they come out of it, and you get to see whether it's a win or a loss. So for me, I'm a full-time trader myself, but there are
mm,
lull periods during my own trading strategy. So for example, from November all the way to February, I don't trade.
mm.
But it
Oh,
doesn't mean, yeah, because I take like a pause for my own trading strategy. Yeah.
so you just why is that important though? Why
Okay,
do you do
so
that?
I trade futures market, and that period of time, it's usually less volatile.
Mm,
So I've learned over time to just hands off the market instead of going in and losing money. But it
mm,
doesn't mean that there's no money to be made during that market. And therefore, I actually outsource my trades during that few months into a copy trader, and in particularly a oil trader. So they are not trading futures, they are doing something completely different from me. And he was making me
mm.
money during that 3 months when I was not working. So I find it kind of fun.
Oh, that's so cool. Like, so I always thought that copy trading is for people who are beginners, but yeah, it's good to know that, you know, you can still, even though you're a professional trader, you can still tap on somebody else to trade for you when, you know, what you trade on isn't as volatile. All right. This question comes from another audience of ours. And he asks, will you consider trading other assets during other hours since trading at the end of the day may be tiring?
Yeah, yeah. So I understand like if you have a full-time job and then after work you still have to come home to trade, it's like a bit tiring. So if anyone is considering to sneakily, you know, put in a trade during their working hours, I think I would recommend gold, because gold in general just move a lot more and it's more volatile. So if you are a beginner and you want to test out your theory, it's much better to go into a market that's already moving a lot. So you get to learn whether you're right or you're wrong really quickly. And gold just moves throughout the day like a lot. So even if you're trading in the Asian session, you will still get proper moves. So that would be something that I recommend people to start off with.
So that means you can actually trade gold outside of the US market hours.
Yes, yes. I think gold is more popular in Asians, between Asians anyway. So it
Oh,
moves a lot during Asian session.
right. Okay, okay. So how about the risks, right? A lot of people think, oh, trading is risky. So how about the risk involved in trading? From your
Okay.
experience, how do you manage risk?
Okay, so before you enter any position, just calculate how much you're willing to lose. And let's say you're using that fund of $300, right? Before you enter a position, you want to calculate like if you get stopped out, which is if the market goes against you, how much
Mm,
you're willing to lose. Let it be like just 10%, you know, like maybe $30. So it takes 10 consecutive losses for you to blow up your fund for the month, right? So it's not that scary after all when you think about it like that, right? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. So divide, kind of like divide your risk.
Yes.
Ah.
So I feel like ultimately treat trading
Mm,
like a job, you know, you don't want it to be a gambling experience unless you're just
mm,
chasing after that dopamine hit.
mm,
But if you treat trading with respect, it can potentially just overtake your career. So come into it with that mindset. And I honestly think that women do that anyway. So I'm so glad that, you know, we're speaking to women right now about trading.
mm. Actually, my husband told me this years ago, and he said that women are better traders because we have less egos.
Yes.
We're more rational, we have less ego, and we're
Yes.
just really more rational, I guess, in a way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
speaking about mindset, and like you mentioned, with that gambling mindset being one of the psychological traps, are there any more, what are some of the psychological traps that traders may fall into, and how can they avoid them?
Okay. So I think some of the traps are like when people lose money, they go into this losing streak because they want to make it back quickly,
Mm,
right? So in order to avoid that, like for me, I have a rule, which is I only take 2 trades a day. So if I use up one chance and it goes into loss, I have one more chance. And if both of them are losers, I will come back tomorrow. So during that, 8 hours away from the market is when I can really just reflect on the trades that I've taken, how I could do better and all that. So don't revenge trade. So having rules in place in such a big ruleless game like trading is what will bring you to success and help you with that psychological part of it.
so being like that's real discipline right there, right? Because
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
easy to get stuck into it emotionally.
yeah.
Yeah, is that something that you learn by experience from learning from others?
Yes, this is definitely something by experience. I learned to treat trading as the long-term game, like in an entire month, there are 20 days. So if I only take 2 trades a day, that's already 40 trades. So look at it in the long-term, infinite game instead of seeing it as I want to make money today and then tomorrow I want to spend it. So yeah, with experience, I learned to treat this as a proper career. Like even if you are studying for a degree, it's like
Mm,
maybe 2 to 4 years, right? So
mm,
treat learning trading like a degree, put in the time every day and don't expect it to pay you immediately will ease off a lot of that emotional experience.
true, true. It's off a lot of that. Why am I not doing this right yet?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And I especially like what you shared about you don't have to just throw a lot of money in there. Just start
Mm.
slow and set some sort of boundary for yourself so that yeah, so you don't get like, revenge trade like what you say. And of course, learn from people from Joyce, follow her. And so if there's like one thing before we go, right? What's that one maybe key message that you want to leave with our audience today?
Okay, I think we talked about like using a small fund to trade, right? We need to realize that if you know what you're doing in trading, the money will chase after you. Like if you're consistently making even that 1-2% a month, which is 24% a year, like there's so much money that will run after you, that will want to invest themselves in you. So focus on the skill when it comes to trading, because the money will come either way. When you're good at what you do, people will chase after you to give you the money.
I love that. Absolutely. Don't be a chaser.
Yes.
Be a puller.
Attract,
Pull it in,
that's a feminine
attract it in.
energy.
Love that. Love that. And this has been such an eye-opening conversation, even for myself. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, Joyce. And I know so many women listening to this are feeling empowered to take action. But before we go, where can people follow you and learn more from you?
Okay, so my name is Hey Joyce Tan on Instagram for lifestyle and spirituality stuff. But you can also go to Joyce Tan Hey for technicals on YouTube for in-depth trading information.
Great. And the one piece of advice for women who want to take charge of their finances but don't know where to start, what would that be?
Okay, so I think just start by setting aside 30 minutes a day to immerse yourself in this trading world. Like watch a video, watch a webinar by XM, write notes and look at that notes again before bed. Just do this for like 1 week. You don't have to think about the next 1 year, just 1 week and see if it's something that piques your interest. And then follow, follow the flow, follow the question, find the answer, and see if you enjoy this journey.
Awesome. And as always, I always tell my audience, right? You can read and watch and do whatever you want, right? As watch as many videos like these as you want, but nothing really happen until you take action. And if investing and trading is what you decide you want to at least give it a try or going to do, the first step you can do right now is to set up a trading account with XM. I'm going to add the link below the video. Get your $50 deposit bonus and start trading, meaning you get to deposit your money and you get an extra $50 to start, like what Joyce say. Try dipping your toes in and start, okay? So before we wrap, one final message for our audience, Joyce. What would it be?
Another point that I want to add in is that we're so blessed to be in Singapore where there are no form of like tax on capital gains. So whatever you make on trading is actually yours. So make full use of it. And Singapore really gave us this good opportunity to become a trader this 2025.
Yes, and go after that financial independence that you're looking for, ladies. Thank you. This is it. I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.